What's up, everybody? This is James Jimmy Hills. I'm the host of Java with Jimmy, and tonight I'm actually the host of the very first episode of Black Java, No Sugar, No Cream. We are live coming from Southline, Portal Innovations at Southline, and so I'm just going to be in the background here real quick, making sure that we are connecting everybody that we need to connect to. And so just some context for all of you in reference to why I am doing this. As many of you know, in 2020, we started Java with Jimmy, and we are definitely Black-centered in everything that we do, but nationally and regionally, and we can't take for granted, as we talked about with the governor today, there is a movement to erase Black history. There's a movement to erase us presently, and therefore we may not be, our history, our impact in this country may not be as notable if that is successful. Also, we have, unfortunately, legacy and mainstream media that are going through changes. We understand that, as you all do that are watching now, people are customizing their social media. And so we want to make sure that we center Black stories, that we center the Black culture. And so we're definitely doing that tonight. I have two guests with me that you see that are here. This is sort of a different setup. We have some guests that just came into the room as well. And so we're going to get started and introduce to some and present to others my two guests. One of them I've known kind of before he knew himself, and which is crazy because now he has his own that he knew before he knew himself. His mother is definitely a notable singer here in the city of Boston. And so I would like to present to some and introduce to others. First, Keithan Foster, and then after that, and brother, just in real time, is it Kerwan or Kerjan?
You said it right the first time. It's crazy because no one gets it right the first time.
I said it this morning, right then.
You did.
Okay, I got it. All right, so Keithan, if you can introduce yourself and let folks know who you are, and we'll go right from there.
My name is Keithan Foster, Boston native. I am a music producer, songwriter, business owner, multi-business, and I'm just proud to represent the city here and do amazing things to give back to the community after all I've been doing in the past over a decade. So we're here to spread the good news.
And Free, if you could introduce yourself as well.
Yes, my name is pronounced Kerwan Freeman, as you know, Uncle Jay has so beautifully and elegantly stated.
He did not say Uncle Jay, y'all.
Yeah, but I do go by
You
Free.
got great in your beard. You said Uncle Jay.
You know, so it's the homage, it's endearment. You know what I'm saying? So
all right, you cut me. All right, that's
you know
cool. That's cool. Yes, sir.
But yeah, I go by Free. I guess I tell people what's my superpower is just helping people. I rooted technically, as the corporate world would state, my title would be Chief Business Officer, you know, Undercover by Music with some amazing founders, you know, Keithan, Marcus Jones, and we have an amazing team. Shout out to Chantel and doing some incredible things. But that's who I am. That's what I do. Born and raised in South Carolina. Been here in Boston now for quite, I want to say I just found out today 16 years now, which is interesting. Jeez. But man, time just flew. But you know,
16 years?
16 now. Yeah,
okay, but okay, so I made a comment about the beard but whatnot, but you saying you've been here for 16 years, you're not that old.
It feels like it though. Like I think it's because you got to remember, like when I came to Boston, being from South Carolina, I didn't have no family here whatsoever, like none. So I remember being on the train and a lady, I was trying to give her my seat and she looked at me like I was crazy, like, what are you doing?
That's the number one thing that Boston is known for. Like people like don't speak in that Southern sort of hospitality.
No, it's unbelievable. So like that being an interesting time, like, and I learned like, okay, wow, I might have to govern myself accordingly while I'm like this. So, but yeah, that was kind of cool. But ever since, you know, Boston has been like, it's really been home. I've been in, like I say, kids have been born here. You know, my wife found my wife here. Like it's been incredible. Like, so I'm a proud Boston native. Now I can say that proudly.
Let's jump right in. And Keithan, I'll let you start first because you kind of went in last night on social media. We got Free here with his executive Celtic CEO look going on. But Keithan,
shout out Boston Celtics, man.
What with Free talking about being a true Bostonian to you and Free, you can speak to this as well after Keithan. What did last night mean to you? We'll get in, to your story. Tell us the story and then lead that up and merge it into the Celtics. And it's so an affirmation that the little sign over there just turned green. Change. Go ahead.
Now, last night meant a lot. Honestly, it really it brought me back to when Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker and Kevin Garnett was doing their thing. I remember being little, even watching like Drew Bledsoe and seeing the transition of Tom Brady. So like when it comes to Boston sports, I like to say that we're spoiled to be in a city of champs, and people think that you're being, or I'm being, just arrogant when it comes to that, and real prideful. But they don't understand that, like, that's why I posted in my story the amount of championships we have on every other team: hockey, football, baseball, basketball. It's multi-dimensional when it comes to the championships that we won. But last night meant a lot. I was watching Kyrie Irving's post-game interview, and he was saying how like a lot of people at the press conference was asking him like, what's next, and how do you guys feel about the loss? And when he had mentioned, like, he was like, Boston was in the same spot, for the past couple of years, few years, so I know exactly how they feel. And here tonight they won. So he was like, I'm proud of them, and seeing that he had a rough, coming back to Boston experience, it was surprising. But to see him be a true gentleman and really give his props up to the Celtics, it really meant a lot. But their story and the way they overcame a lot really reminds me of where we're at. We've done a lot in the city, and we've grown here. Shout out to Frank Poindexter and the Poindexter family, Paul.
Shout out to Poindexter.
Like they Wally's was like a real stomping ground for us, as it was for a lot of other musicians. But he let us like just really find our identity there. And if it wasn't for the city of Boston and them opening their doors to different clubs, venues, and artists like Amandi, and shout out to Marcus Siskin, another person who helped propel us to where we are now. I don't know where we would be. So to see that trajectory of where we came from to where we are now, I think the Celtics is one of those great projections of where we can be ourselves too. So last night meant a lot.
That's a good segue when you're talking to, about your journey. A couple of weeks ago, we had the opportunity to sort of check in, and we won't be able to have that sort of convo tonight and go as deep. But as I said to you all that night, I think that there's a possibility for a series to sort of take place because in talking to you all the other night and being around you, Keith, and knowing your family and Free observing you, I remember coming up to you and Grace, and I'm like, bro, I just see what you're doing. And I mean, like, I want to be down. And there is a spirit of humility, of servitude, of realness and authenticity that you all have. And I want to ask, and Free, I'll start with you. Keith, and rather, I'll start with you this time. Where does that come from? Where you are now, what does that journey look like? How did you get to sort of not just your talent, but you have a philosophical approach to this thing of servitude, using the music, the integrity of industry. And so give us a little bit of your journey.
As you would know, my mom and my dad both are what, of course, made me. But their level of intellect and the way they look at life, I've seen them be an example of what they preach. A lot of people, talk about practicing what you preach. But my parents are literally examples of that. My mom being super, super rooted in the church. My dad as well, but also having that, the military background and then being super structured. So I think having a blend of the structure and then my mom's lessons of humility that she's always taught me since I was a kid, don't get too big headed. You know what I'm saying? All that talk. And then my mentor, Chris Laughlin, shout out to him. Musically, he raised me,
Chris, hold on. I have my mic off because I'm just having it in my hand. So Chris is the funniest, humblest, old school, because he got an old school Pentecostal background, but serious, takes the things of God seriously. But Yeah, that dude is, and he's very low key.
Yeah.
Very
And
low
so
key.
like he's basically pretty much musically raised me since I was 12, 13 years old. You know what I mean? Like I remember him really telling me, I used to tell him like when YouTube first came out, I used to be like, man, I was watching so-and-so on YouTube, man. I want to learn this. I want to learn this lick. I want to play this fast. I want to do X, Y, Z. And he kept on telling me, he was just like, don't worry about that. Don't just find you like your identity in music. And he really would calm me down. There was a time I remember crying because he went on me so bad during offering. He told me,
wait.
During offering. Listen, church will get you together.
Yeah,
church.
We all got some moments.
Yeah.
Life lessons in church.
Life lessons in church.
During the offering, he got you together.
He got me together.
Thought you was caught up.
He told me not to do something, play it straight, and I got a little fancy. And tears rolling down my eyes.
Did they come and lay hands on you because they thought?
No, I went to my mom thinking she was gonna get on him, and she didn't. She was like, "What happened?" I told her. She was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta listen." You know, like so. Just those lessons of humility, and even with Chris, you know, he used to tell me, he was just like, you know, the church brothers is gonna say that you nice and you the greatest of all time, but you got to grow past that, you know, and you want to be recognized and for your spirit of humility and seeing again somebody else who practices what they preach. Seeing that, like, it really made me realize that I have to do the same thing. So yeah, that's just, you know, a little foundation of where I am, where I come from.
Free, let me ask you, you know, you also have the same sort of upbringing coming up in the things of God. And so your journey to a point here, and please, because Keithan is in this full time, though you may, you know, have other businesses, but you are actively like full time also in the world of finance.
Absolutely.
And so if you could tell us a little bit of your journey in relationship to the industry. Did it deviate into finance to kind of fund what you want to do, or however you want to present from where you got into this space? And both of you have sort of this, it's the industry, there's the tech and the talent, but there's a philosophy that I ascertained from both of you that again, I'm coming up with this term in real time, the integrity of the industry is something that is paramount for both of you. But how did you get here?
Yeah, no, a lot of it stemmed from like the Keithan story, which is parallel to mine. And a lot of us, when we came up, when we started our band, like Elevation Theory, like all of our mothers were like praying mothers, ministers, pastors, you know what I mean? So I kind of grew up in that as well. I was a PK kid, as they like to say. And I just remember coming up, like my mom, I was rooted in church. I started in church just like Keithan. I remember when I was in a Methodist church at first. So when I first saw the drums for the first time, like I'm not making this up, the drums looked like diamonds. Like it was like a platinum kit. Yeah, like you know the aura moment. Like that's what I had. I never forget it. So when I walked in and I saw it, I was like, "Yo, I want to do that." And I just remember walking up to him. I was doing that Karen McBroom. And I remember walking up to him. I said, "Hey man, I want to be just like you." He's like, "Man, you don't want to be like me. You want to be better than me." So it was just interesting to take that pathway that playing drums was a tool, and I was so eager for it. Like I used to practice on a pillow. That's why I tell kids, like when you're aspiring to get into,
the parents appreciate that.
Yeah. When you're aspiring to get into it, you know, I had a pair of drumsticks and I would just practice on a pillow like all night. I would put on my headset. This one had tape recorders, right? So you would put on the tape and I would put in the tape, boom, put in my headphones, and I would play on my pillow all night. And I just remember getting my first drum set for Christmas. Man, it was a cadence kit. Any drummers out there, y'all know what a cadence kit is. Maybe you don't, but it don't matter. Point is, I beat that kit to shreds. I used to have Sunday morning service in my room.
Pillows,
like literally.
So that is really past the pillows and sister sheets.
Yo, listen, I'm telling you, that was something I really did. Like I used to imagine arenas. I used to say like, I used to walk in, like I used to have my little stick bag. Like and that's why I tell a lot of people, man, there's power in imagination when you're a kid. That you see things that you may not necessarily understand in that moment why you're seeing it or why you're just walking into it. But when I was in that room by myself, I saw the arenas, I saw the stadiums, I saw the tours. Like I saw it even at the age of 12. I didn't understand it, but it was things that I was manifesting. Not only in my thoughts, but
can I deviate for a second? Because when you talk about the young people in scene, along with you, we know what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown did last night, Derek White and others. And I've been thinking about how Jalen, has talked about Black Wall Street here in Boston and whatnot. And so how important is it that young people see examples that there's the hype of, what he's doing on TV, MVP and whatnot, but also having, as both of you do, sort of that backup passion. How important is it for young people to know the other side of Jalen and the other side of Jason Tatum? He's a business owner. He has the healthy candy line and whatnot. And so I just, when you were talking, I heard I couldn't let this moment pass without asking both of you to speak to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it all stems from, at the end, like having a clear understanding of not where you are, but where you see yourself trying to go. So for me, I've kind of always been known out the bunch to be the business guy. So when you ask me about finance, my mom was an accountant. She'd been accounting for the hospital for well over 20 plus years. And I kind of grew into it. So for me, when it came to money, I understand, in order for me to know how to spend it, I have to understand patterns. People have patterns. Yeah. So when I got in the business of being in banking, I wanted to learn people patterns. Yes. So when I would just see transactional history, when I would see their behaviors of how they spend, how they save, because it's all based on habits. It's kind of like what you do. Like Marcus has a powerful saying where he says, practice makes permanent, right? So when you have permanent, habits, you become a byproduct of it naturally, right? Yeah. So
you're about to tap into some other things as far as habits and just wellness and being well-rounded and just good practices. But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no. But to say to that point, it's right. When you are exercising those habits, it becomes permanent, right? And when it becomes permanent, these are things that you vicariously, you don't think about it. It's just something that's just in you. You do it naturally, right? So when you say, Jalen, we say Jason, of course, all aspects of business leads to someone that either they saw it or they've aspired to do it, because that's the other key as well. So for me and us, me kind of being in the group, I kind of just felt like I fell into management just without knowing it. And I felt like I was the oldest one out of the bunch. And I think they kind of just took a liking to hey, Free, he's Mr. Magic. He's the one that's going to talk. He's the one that's going to
behind the scenes.
You remember Mr. Wizard?
Mr. Wizard
and Proud Family. Was it Proud Family?
I couldn't
the Wizard.
That's a little after my.
Showing your age.
My bad. My bad.
But to his point, it was just I was kind of already in that. So when it came down to business decisions, and it goes back to they really trusted me, right? And I earned their trust, and it was just things that we kept it honest. I didn't play with the money, because that's the thing when you're dealing with it was 12 of us, and it came down to it that we were so honest and open about everything we did, how we did. If we took a gig, we were very forthcoming with a lot of things. But the root of it stemmed from us just coming together, deciding to, hey, we got a plan. This is how we want to do it. And I think another thing that's important that we learned early is giving titles early matter. It does.
It's funny to hear you say that, because you understand the importance of that, not to put you out there in our text thread, but Keith, and you can attest, we had to fight him the other night for him to talk about his titles. And so
no, but to that point, because it was hard, because for me, Keith tells me often, like me, when it comes to me being in wealth management and being in a private bank, it's not even something that I publicly tell people, because I understand I deal with money, and I know money is one of the things to people. That's the one thing. It's like your health. It's just certain things that you just don't let people in, because not only one, it's a financial or a disparity in them just where they want to be compared to where they actually are. And that's two different things.
So this is in real time and whatnot. And so I got to go a little bit deeper there. Is it because of maybe, how can I frame it? Unhealthy aspiration? Is that a good way to frame it?
Well, I think I'd take it a step deeper. I think we systemically as African Americans have been marginalized.
Let's go.
Well, yeah, I think we have been systemically marginalized with the equity opportunities for us to acquire wealth and to be transferable with trust. Like when trust babies is real, wealth transfers is real, 401ks, like Ross. I'm not trying to get super
no,
but it's important to understand these economics. There are certain financial economics that we weren't taught for a conversation that can go there, but it's very deep. So my mom taught me like a lot of ethics and fundamentals. Now, granted, there are a lot of things that being in Boston that I had to get privy to understand, because I'm have a big initiative in housing crisis here, because that's something I feel passionate about as young creators, being able to come from a prestigious institute like a Berklee College of Music, and they have to leave and they can't even afford to pay 1 month's rent, let alone have the income and the job security to sustain in a market like this. So it's quality of living. It's so many aspects of it for me. So when you talk about those things that, you know, when Jaylen Brown has those initiatives, that they have the real power to change like generational impact, right? Through legislation, through lawmakers that they have influence. Because, I mean, at this day and age, if an elected official walked in here right now compared to an actual entertainment or athlete walked in here, more people are going to gravitate towards an athlete because
I thought you were going to say you're elected.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but it's just, but we kids aren't taught to think the powers in the law.
And in the
policy.
You
see what I'm saying? We don't understand it. We're taught to go with the flash. We're taught where to go where, hey, this is where athlete is. That's where they're seen. So it can get real deep and layered in that. But I say all that to say, that's one thing that we've done really well is being able to understand not only our personal challenges, but our business challenges and how we want to overcome those things. And I think every goal we've set, we've been very intentional how we get there. But most importantly, like being able to digest like what we want to ultimately do.
I think that I can pull another correlation, and thank you for speaking to everything. Keith, and I want to take a different perspective and ask you to build upon another correlation. I hear you often that just as naturally we say I, and then you quickly go to we.
Right.
If you watch media, social media, a lot of sports commentators, there seems to be, to me, an intentionality to try to drive this wedge between Jaylen and Jason based on MVP. Ethan, I know you, he's over there smiling, so I know he's about to really go in on it. And so I want to ask you, how did you two get to the point of bonding the way you are as brothers? And then did the bond produce the purposeful goal, or was it the observation of the commonality of the purposeful goal that increased the bond? Or was it both? However you want to go. Freeze like maybe I want that one too.
No. He gonna break it down real quick.
Honestly, what's dope, how we met, I think I was like 18. I was still in high school. And we was auditioning for this band. I played with this local R&B artist. I honestly forget her name at this point. And I'll never forget, like, when we got up on stage randomly. I had never met him before. He got on drums, I got on bass, and we auditioned. And after the audition, everybody was like, "Oh nah, we need y'all." We was like, "All right, cool." And then there was a contract, And
this is a true story, by the way.
I was just like,
so wait a minute, you presented a contract?
No. This artist and this management presented a contract, and I'm 18 years old in high school. Just like, oh nah. My life flashed before my eyes. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. So I was just like, I'm definitely not. I look at him, I was like, yo, bro, what you on? Like, he just like, I'm definitely not doing this. Like, so if you're not, I'm not. I'm just like, it's first time meeting each other.
Literally, first time.
And y'all gelled and bonded right there.
Yeah,
immediately. It was unfair. It was like,
because we was both like, we picked up the pen, we was just like, we
both in the moment.
I swear.
In the moment. He's not. That's what I'm saying. This is
It
real.
was
real
in Cambridge at
Jam Spot.
Yep. And so from then on, I remember, I'll never forget, he hit me on Skype. And
that's what Skype was a thing, guys.
Yeah, right. Skype was a thing. And I was about to graduate high school, and he's like, yo, I'm about to start a band. This bass player that I had, and he was gigging with around the city at the time. His Matt.
Matt Sangro, yep. Mm-hmm.
So Matt, dope bass player, but he had moved, and he was just like, yo, I don't know another bass player that I was really gelling with. Like, we had a dope time at the audition. Kind of started the band. What's up? I'm like, all right, cool. It was easy just like that. And literally, I graduated high school, and then I moved into his 3-bedroom apartment with a trash bag. And then we started getting busy. We started doing gigs. So with that being said, from that point on, we just started embarking on this journey of just starting our own band and recruiting other like-minded creatives to join us. We would always just have conversations. And
what does that like-mindedness look like, if I can chime in there? What does that look like for y'all?
I don't know. I think it's more so like how we like just noticed, like, all right, cool, like
Yeah, it was
you
like
moving
a
like
synergy.
me,
It was
like,
an
you know what I
untapped
mean,
synergy.
or like your body language is saying the same thing mine is. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like, not even like a blatant conversation. It was
Mhm.
just like, I see you moving how I am. And so we would pick up on different things like that, like outside of somebody playing good, like
Right.
we gotta be cool too. We gotta gel.
Mhm.
So like just navigating that, it brought us together a lot, and we would have different conversations about our aspirations. And actually, both of our mentors are from Philly. He's from his mentor was Lil Jon Roberts, a great,
Shout out Lil Jon.
great drummer from Philly. Played with Janet, Jill Scott, everybody in that mother. And you know Chris from
Yes.
Philly.
I know he's from Philly though.
So like you know that Philly, the Philly area just had like, and they still do have everybody in the world that tours. So like that was the thing back then. This was before Instagram, it was before social media was huge. It was a thing of like, yo, like especially going to Berkeley, bro. If I can tour.
Yeah. There's some people that used to make up tours and go check
oh
into
yeah,
hotels.
trust me. I heard about that. I heard about that.
Touring was the likes, shares, amount of followers is here today. So keep going. I'm sorry. I just remember that hearing that everybody was, wanting to tour, and then some people weren't really.
So I remember we would do Wally's, and we would split a little money. You know what I'm saying? We had, at this time we would like, you know how small Wally's is.
Yeah.
We was probably
Wally's as big as this table, probably.
Right?
Maybe smaller.
We were honestly probably the biggest band Wally's ever had, man. We would have to double everything: 2 drum sets, 2 keyboard players, a 5
in Wally's.
In Wally's, I promise you, a 5-piece horn section.
Orchestra.
Orchestra. It might as well be.
Might as well be.
In Wally's,
Yeah. And we would have like sometimes we had 2 guitar players. Like we have Nero and my man Alex Potts. We have him and Justin Faulkner or Devin Parker. Always 2 drums right in front of the fire exit. Frank would get mad at us because he's like, "Yo, you can't shut up in front of the fire exit." Like, but he would let us rock. You know what I'm saying? But we would like just really just go 8. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, everybody ate too. You know what I'm saying? We would split the check down until everybody got paid. We'll go right to New York Pizza right next door and spin it all right there.
And make sure everybody ate.
But at the same time, like even that night, like we would go back to the apartment. We lived on Hemingway, and we would just talk and
for hours, man.
For hours, watch YouTube. We like, dang, bro, remember we would watch certain performances and we would just
and
like dissect. We had
yeah.
nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? We in our young, super small 20s. Like I'm just out of high school. Like we just building. So I think from then on, just building that bond, like off stage, like it sparked so much. Like I remember him telling me, like, yo, bro, you know, we're gonna see our first tour together. We're gonna see our first tour bus tour together. We're gonna do our first TV show together. And we literally did all those first together as a band.
Literally.
And how, you may have said it before, or maybe not, but how long have you two been brothers?
I mean, since I've been in Boston.
Like 16 years.
Yeah, literally. From the time because that particular artist who that was in that phase of us, whatever was happening. When I met them, the unknown phase is really what it was. And when I met him, it was just, again, exactly how he said it. We ended up, he moved in, and when we started the crew, I mean, we really hit the ground running. Like, people don't know, like, when we started our band, we started it as a nonprofit, not knowing the business side of it, but we were just like, all right, man, we're going to be a nonprofit.
So the origin of Elevation Theory, and I'm thinking back now to different people that Sean was a part of it, right?
Still is.
So you all started as a nonprofit.
Yeah, our first.
So you all didn't do the for-profit thing first and then wanted to give back.
Nah.
Non-profited first, give back, and then
like a lot of people don't even know. Like what we did was, it wasn't even a band at first. We had 4 singers. We had KO, we had Jackie, we had Katrina Bella, and we had Tori. Out of here from Boston. So like we had like 4 singers because we were just like, man, as a band, nobody's gonna sit in there and listen to us. We need singers, vocals. You know what I'm saying?
No, it wasn't. That was our mindset.
Yeah,
we literally said it. We was like, yo, while we cool on the band, people want to look at women and entertain. And they were extremely talented, and it just worked in a crazy, unique way. And when we started, it was like, I think the first event we did was the O campaign. I can't remember.
It was somewhere downtown.
What organization?
Y'all to the point now that you can't even remember that.
I can remember.
Yeah, no, because it was 09. Yeah, and we did it, and it was
15 years ago.
It was. I keep I'm almost positive we have the article somewhere, but we did. It was for an O campaign. I know the name, but I can't think of what organization it was with. I want to say the Red Cross. I want to say, but that's just me. Probably
y'all came out national.
Well, no,
We didn't even know. We was just
we were
trying to
with.
spread the
I know
word.
it was with a partner. We were just helping them raise money, so we were the entertainment, right? But what our goal was is that we were using not only the fundamentals of what we learned in school, was to go work in some of these youth centers and just give back. Because we looked at it like we have this theoretical training. How do we go inspire the youth and have them? Because again, I grew up in South Carolina. I didn't have the resources or educational institute like a Berklee College of Music. So I told myself it was my life mission. So how do I take what I know to give back to someone that's underserved or misrepresented in the creative market, that we can help empower and inspire them to know that, hey, you can do this too. If I did it from South Carolina, you can do it from Missouri, you can do it from Alaska, you can do it from like wherever you are with walk of life now. And now with the internet, it's so changed the game for everything. But then we were real big on just showing up and just really doing the work.
We actually performed at the Guitar Center in his hometown in South Carolina.
Yes, that was
we drove
huge.
down in his F-150.
Drove down in the car.
Cam, JoJo, Sean.
In the F-150.
I had my F-150 at the time.
Drove down to South Carolina
Drove.
to play at the Guitar Center.
They stayed at my mom's house.
Yeah.
We all showed up. And that for me, like, yeah. Oh, man.
Oh,
What?
sure.
This is
Down south.
We in Greenville, South Carolina.
Man, what? Like, yo, we ate good.
I'm so hungry right now. That's a whole nother subject.
But yeah, that like, yo, you know what I mean? So that was a good time, man. So us to be able to do stuff like that, like we were doing community work, not even knowing we were doing community work. And it was just us just in passion and in love with the mission. And it was just us just wanting to just inspire to help people. That's really what it was.
It doesn't surprise me to hear the longevity of the community work. And I know where your heart's a place. I just didn't know it went back that deep or that long. Again, because a lot of people in this space, they do the for-profit first and they get established, and then and it's not a judgment or indictment on the process. Then they get to a point where they're like, okay, now I'm going to give back. For you all, it's been either a duality or it was the give back for which I'm thinking about in real time. The give back is probably what helped propel you all to be in positions to really make money,
right,
turn and give that back, and be successful. Both of you all married with children. Positive. And I just got a name for those of you that are watching online. We didn't articulate it, but we have two married Black men with children in full-time careers. And if I can ask you all just a nod or whatever, never been stabbed, shot, killed, and record.
I ain't never had no surgery in my life.
Never me. I broke my wrist when I was playing basketball, but that was a whole nother.
Did y'all notice that when he said that, he sat up and kind of let basketball just.
So like basketball was definitely in me a little bit, but I ain't going that route.
Celtics executive thing.
You know what I'm saying?
To reach out to you about.
Hey, listen, Celtics. If y'all need director of community relations, I'm more than available. Like I said, I got my manager in the building, so hey, listen, we can work out anything that needs to happen. So y'all give me a call. Let me know.
All right, listen, we're doing real good. I can't believe time is going by so quick. One of the things that you did. One of our anyway. There's two things I want to accomplish before we get ready to wrap up. I want to end with the program, but I want to do a quick correlation, because for those of you that are hearing about the real program, this isn't anything new for them, and this was some of my intentionality. I heard their story a few weeks ago. Shout out to Nia Grace. We were down at Foxwoods just checking in, and we were sitting there and I'm listening to them, and I'm literally sitting there, and I almost, in retrospect, I probably came off a little cocky because they're talking and I'm like, yo, we'll do this. It ain't nothing. Yo, I'll connect you with this one. It ain't nothing. And it is just amazing to now see what we're doing tonight with the focus of talking about Covered by Music and the Real Music program that's taking place July 17th through 19th here in the city of Boston. But before we get ready to end up with that, I want folks to get a peer view sort of, and I can go two different ways with this. I could ask you right now, free, if you were to describe the industry in one word, what word would that be? And you may want to think for a second, and I want you to give me a word that by your peer view and experience and observation, that's all encompassing.
My initial first thought, I probably use the word just fractured. Like I think just where we are just in this climate of the social media and just what it's information overload. And I think that there's certain levels of relationship building and etiquette that can't be taught through a screen.
Say that again for the people, because I heard somebody out there say, for the people in the back, say that again. There's what?
What
There's
relationship?
relationship.
Yeah, there's relationship etiquette that is missing, and I think you can't get that through a screen. I think we forget how to compliment people like respectfully, like it's okay to do things in decency and do things in order. But I think we sometimes just think that, oh, if I am introverted, that necessarily means that I just don't have to talk to people. But there are just certain rooms and certain places you have to know how to talk to people. So when you think of the industry as a whole, the reason why we use the word fractured, because I just think like where we were, like we made it. I was talking about the other day, like some of my little young boys, musicians. I remember I used to have to carry my drums up a flight of stairs in 13-degree weather and set it up. And I was getting $15 at the end of the night.
Was this church?
No, This was us playing locally. Like, but we playing
No
locally.
disrespect to the church, but
Yeah, no. But I mean, but when I tell you, me and Keith,
$15.
but what I'm saying is, I'm only using that,
Yeah.
and that's just in the local setting. If we go to the industry, it gets really like interesting in terms of just like what we've had to endure, because the whole hazing, the whole thing of having to prove yourself, of not being entitled, like again, it really taught you how to have really tough exterior. So I think when I use that word, it's just, it stems from a place of us really growing, having a lot of growing pains.
Mhm.
Like I was telling you before when we was talking, man, we really learned how to turn our pain into passion.
Yeah.
And I think that people, if they really knew what we had to endure, what we had to go through, man, like people don't understand, like I've been evicted, lost my car. Like, man, we used to bust down double cheeseburgers. I remember that day we had to scrape money out of $7 together
4 people
amongst us. And we all came to
It's interesting because now, and it's humility and
Went to
also
Wendy's that day.
overcoming.
It was at
It's
Wendy's.
like it was 4 of us. $7 to
$7, and that's us scraping change together. Like I remember it like yesterday. So when I say that, turning pain into passion, those are the moments that centers us. So when we think back, like, man, we used to bust down like double cheeseburger, and we made sure that everybody ate, like as a whole. So we reflect back on those moments, and now we talk about drum. Like shout out to my boy Carrington. We used to have to piece together drum kit pieces. Like, you got felt, you got to stand. Like we have a literally video of the crib we lived in. We had it was like a patio of just like stuff to just do the gig.
like a junkyard.
Music,
if something break, you would go back there.
if it would be broken, I'm like, bro, you got a felt, bro, you got a sleeve. Like, yo, bro, I ain't got sticks.
People knew me, like I ain't never had a bass in. I said, y'all got a monitor or something? I'm gonna plug it right in there. That's what we've been playing.
Rigged it and made it work.
Hey, what?
Yeah. So to that
We
point,
actually helped out a little bit tonight with some of the tech here, but
yeah. No, so and I'll swing it to Keith. And on this point, it was just and now for us to be endorsed and for companies to just send us
And let's take
everything,
the
like,
opportunity, since you have endorsements, let's big them up. Who's your endorsement?
I mean, shout out to Tama, shout out to Sabian, shout out to Innovative. Like, I mean, the list goes on. I mean, Keith can double down on the list too. But I will say that in respects, like, I don't think there's a company that we have not one partner with, or either two that we're in direct relationship with. Because now it's like we don't have equipment issues ever. Like, we just don't have that problem anymore.
It's so we don't have equipment issues.
But we say that with humility too.
There is a real confident humility, if you would allow me to use that, because you're humble, but you've experienced things, so you're convinced.
Right.
I don't know if that's the right term.
No. It's the conviction of the work we've done, right?
Yeah.
That's the assurance in us that we know,
Humble
like
conviction.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, we know we've done the work. And like I said, man, Keith can kind of really spin to that. And
how would
get
you?
some
What
insight.
word would you use, Keith? And then I got a dinger for Keith, and just because some of the stuff I've seen on social media in relation, I got a good question for you. One word for the industry now that is all encompassing.
The jungle.
It's a jungle. You was ready. You had time.
I was ready.
Okay.
It was a
Context for jungle.
Man, honestly, it's like, when you in the jungle, you can make it how you want. Like if you think about just roaming a jungle, you can make friends with another person that's in the jungle as well, or you can be standoffish because you see that they got food and You know what I'm saying? You want to be arrogant and have your ego, like, I'm gonna get my own food too, versus both of y'all hunting together.
Yep.
Or like, you know, just navigating it and like you said, like just being a people person or learning how to have conversations. Or you can just do something wrong and get ate up by a bear. You know what I'm saying? Or get slashed by a gorilla or something like, and then all of a sudden you gone. You out of the game.
But if that person and you're all together, they could be watching your back in the
1000%.
Right.
And that's how me and him have been rocking. And everybody that we've been around, we always made sure that's what the common interest was. Like, yo, you got my back, I got yours. Like there's been plenty of times when people try to do the Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum division between me and him, and it never worked.
Y'all in love.
I remember it was 2 years ago, his wedding. You know, I was supposed to be the best man, and I was on tour. We was on tour with Coldplay, and for like that whole year, and I was supposed to get off the tour maybe about 2 weeks before his wedding. I'm the best man, and I want to say
the best man.
I was the best man. His wedding was in August, end of August. The end of July, our tour got extended 2 weeks. So I was stuck overseas for another like month at this point.
No option of getting out, coming back.
Nah, the only option was for me to figure it out, for somebody else to come in. The only person I had trusted to come in, like, lived in LA, and I was like, well, $6,000 to get him to wherever I was at. I think I was like,
look, we ain't scraping $7 burgers no more, but I ain't putting no $6,000. That's just the travel. That's not just the travel. That's not the hotel.
And I was like in Glasgow. Like, I don't even know where I was. Like, I remember like that moment being like a pivotal moment between us, like, you know, like where it was as grown men, we had to really just have a conversation. And like, because he known me since forever, you know, we had a real deal conversation. And like, by the grace of God, like, you know,
y'all was still cool. Cause that would have,
a lot of people it
was wedge.
A lot of people tell me like, yo, like
that would have
still
broken
cool.
a relationship.
Trust me. Yeah.
Though there's understanding, they're feeling some sort of way or whatever. That definitely, I think. Let me ask you: was that a real test of your friendship?
Oh yeah, no. If you gotta think about it, like keep it, like everyone see me, they saw keep it. Like, so it's kind of like him not even being around, like the idea of it, it was unimaginable.
The day of at the wedding, how many people was keeping?
No, that's exactly what it was. Because no one could understand. Like, people was like, wait, Keithan's not here? And I just remember, even during my wedding, like I said it, like he was on live. And I remember I just broke out in tears, and I was kind of talking to his wife and the sacrifices that she made. But it was just like, I wanted him to know, like, at the end of the day, bro, you're still my brother.
Yeah.
Even though, like, to my core, like, it's like, this is my day, but it's like my bro, like, it's him. So of course, like, it's personal.
Yep.
But again, that's why you say it's the jungle, it's the business. And there's just things that just come up that in this, if you're not covered and you don't have that intuition to really believe that, man, while the intent, I know it's hard. You know what I mean? And that was what, at the root of it, I couldn't let people dictate what I know we've been through, how we've navigated. Like, again, at the end of the day, like, if I know I was going to battle with somebody, like, I know at the end of the day, it ain't no question if we out here, like, we're doing anything. We're war ready for anything. Mm-hmm. So that's just one of the things that I've always admired about just our relationship. That, and again, it's easy to have friends, but it's a different level when you got brothers. Like, it's a different level. Like, to me, like, I can't speak for everybody else how they view relationships, but I just really have a hard time when people just vicariously just play with the idea. Oh yeah, nah, that's my bro. Like, nah, the way we take family, we take it serious. Like, that's why when you see us all together, it's just been a group of us as men, like young men at the time, and we just kind of navigate through that. So, but yeah, that
is definitely a blessing to have. And had some situations like that, but sometimes they've been temporal. For y'all for 16 years, that's amazing. All right, before we get into covered, I got one question for you, Keithan. Where do you think the industry is going under the consideration of AI?
Man,
loaded question.
It's a loaded question.
I got one for you.
I don't want that one.
Man,
why can't you just speak as a producer? Like, ultimately,
right? I mean, honestly,
producer, writer.
Honestly, I feel like it's kind of the same thing like when the internet got introduced to the world.
Yep.
What, 20 years ago?
I think a little bit longer. I don't remember.
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer. Like, it was like, yo, the world's about to end in 2000. Like,
Y2K.
Yeah, Y2K, yo, the world's about to end. You know what I mean? But again, everybody adjusted to it. Everybody kind of forced themselves to learn it. So I'm not behind. Like I hear my mom say that all the time. I need to, I ain't leaving me behind type of thing. Like, you know what I mean? So I think
shout out to Lucia Cookie Foster.
yeah, shout out to mom. So I mean, I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right?
Go deeper there because my context was writing integrity and writing the experience. AI doesn't have the experience, but they can put the algorithms together and write a love song.
Yeah, absolutely. But it goes to the same thing that he was talking about with social media. Like the younger creatives now are thinking like, oh, just because I follow somebody on Instagram and they follow me back and we DM all day long, that there's gonna become a working relationship out of that. That's not how it happens. You know what I mean? It happens. I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen,
but it's not a guarantee. Similar to basketball, the draft, the 1 in a million.
It's correlate that 1 in a million thing. So I think if you kind of cater to the new way of technology and you kind of make it work for you and find different ways to be innovative with it. You know what I'm saying? Because we can always still be innovative with the technology, like with the internet. Like a lot of social media came up the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because people started to get real innovative with the tools that was given to them. So I think if we just kind of just take a step back, see what's going on, and keep on exploring this AI world, I think it'll be beautiful. I've used AI to negotiate a contract. So like, you know what I mean?
In the creative, if I could ask, and forgive me for interrupting, I had the thought while you were talking, so I'm going to ask, do you think it's going to put artistry and the artists at risk? Because if I can program, we understand, I think there was a story out that Tyler Perry was getting ready to buy $8 billion or something studio, decided not to, and he's investing the money in someone or whatever that can really take AI and actually, without the studio, just do a whole film. Do you think there's risk for artists in their craft?
I don't know if it'll be a risk for artists in the craft. I think it'll be a risk for jobs, to be honest.
That's the thinking. Yeah, that's the context for gigs and
it'll be like the foundational jobs, like the different ways that, but at the same time, I've seen or heard conversations where it was like, man, we still just need that human. That human aspect,
especially in artistry and creativity.
And I think too, with the whole AI vocal and have somebody having Drake's vocal.
I was thinking about that too.
They're having talks with laws about that. So I think we'll just see how time just plays out with it.
Okay, that's something we can talk about in another segment because these brothers are going to be back with us for different iterations of Black Java, Your Healthy Java, and also our regular weekly program. This isn't a dinger for you, but it's in the context of Your Healthy Java. We talk about relationships. We talk about Jalen and Jason. We see you all in our community. There is sometimes this resistance to telling him, I love you, bro, to cry in front of him around the impact, whether virtual or in person, the impact of you not being here actually put me into a place that no matter what, I still love you. If you could speak to Black men right now around the importance of just loving each other, not going to get into the violence stuff, just loving each other, and that being, you two are, and y'all know me and my story and orientation, y'all are two heterosexual men with children, and y'all love each other, and y'all got a 16-year bond, quote unquote, community excused vernacular, ain't no funny business, da-da-da-da. Do you think that is helpful to a lot of brothers? You talk about the circle, and you talk about sharing and scraping up, and can you just speak to that?
Yeah, I think like even in our journey, right? I mean, we definitely had moments where we've definitely cried. We had moments that we've kind of just navigated just life, family, just different economics of just dealing through life. But I do think it's important to have, at least besides your significant other, right, that there are certain things that we as men deal with differently than just us and our significant, lovers, husband, wife, father, whatever it might be. But what I will speak to specifically to men is that it's important that we are each other's champion, I think it's important to make sure that I show up. I think it's important, that at the end of the day, that you are seen, that you are heard, that we affirm each other differently. And it's one thing you hear it from your wife, but it's a different context when I know my brothers are able to support and champion me in a different way. Because I think as we as men, it's just a certain level of like the way I'm a hustle, the way we gonna hustle, it's just a different like motivator. Yeah. Like Marcus has this dope saying, like you have to be your own motor. And I think as men, like when we get up in the morning, like it's one thing for us to know we got to put our families on our back. We got to go get it. But we got other people like, yo, what you on today? Because I love friends, but I love business friends. Yeah. I'm in that elevation now of just my life and my journey. So when we talk, it's more, when it's so layered, but men, we have a certain level of like, yo, what deals are you doing? What are you actually working on? How are you navigating this? Like, what are you currently dealing with? Yo, how's your health? Like beyond your health, like how's your mental health? Yo, how's your financial health? Like these are all indicators and elements that when we talk amongst men is because it's us helping each other to navigate through certain obstacles that we might not necessarily feel like at the present time that we got to take it home because we're just trying to ultimately figure it out. And I just think we as men, like that's one of the things that we like to stand on. It's not that we have to have every answer. We just want to know that we have some type of an answer before we come down to any level of us being open and honest with a lot of things. And I think when they say that men, we don't talk, or men are just shelled, or men are just, men is the term they try to use. It's just certain times, man, we're just really trying to figure it out. And I think a lot of the times that we're not dealing with identity, having like self-identity, issues. But I think a lot of it is just that we're navigating it, that we don't necessarily have the blueprint. Me and Keithan are blessed enough that we do have active fathers in our lives, which I think that plays a huge role. And I think if you don't have a living example, it's hard for you to see something that you never saw before.
Back to your point you were saying in the beginning.
So I think at the end of the day, like that's the message in it. It's just that you have to have living examples to understand how to build good habits, to going back to that, right? And understanding like what is a good example? Because if you see nothing but bad, do you really know the difference between bad and good? So you need some level of discernment that someone's telling you like, hey, now you don't really want to go right on this, you really want to go left, and here's why. And I think that's why for us, we were rooted with, fathers that really cared, that really showed up, that were present. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what has really helped us to understand our synergy, to understand that when we say the term like-minded, it's because we have a very similar upbringing. So we understand the importance of being able to navigate with each other and have conversations holistically and honestly. So I think that's where it starts for us, having a living example and having real trust partners that you can go ask questions and just be like, hey, bro, I'm dealing with this, you got that. How you navigating this? How you navigating that? Oh, and you had this obstacle. How did you overcome that? So I think it just stems from that.
I promise this is the last one before we do Covered by Music, because that was such, I'll say the word, intimate of the relationships of Black and brown men. Keithan, I want to ask you to just close out, I guess, in this aspect around the vulnerability and accountability that comes with that. You didn't say it. It was indicated in what you talk, but I'm going to specifically ask you, Keithan, there's vulnerability that comes with being real. If he asks you one day, how's your mental health? You got to be vulnerable to say, bro, I'm at the end of the rope with a knot. And then there's an accountability that takes place with, if he says, well, I'm coming through, or you got to address this, there's a dual accountability between both of you to do maybe what he suggests or whatever. And then your accountability to kind of check on your boy, a few days, couple hours later. So vulnerability and accountability. I promise that's the last one before we get into the program.
Real quick, I want to speak to this one point. I'm going to set him up for what I'm going to say. All right. I'm going to tell you how important it is, but I'm going to tell you another layer to it. When you have real brotherhood, what is seen is sometimes understood. I'll say it again. What is seen is understood.
Gotcha.
There are times, and I was going through a very difficult transition, very difficult. And I'm not sometimes, again, when I'm internalizing, I may not communicate, but Keith is really good at studying patterns.
What is seen? Go ahead.
Again, saying that to say, this particular situation, and I'm only setting him up, but it's going to give context. In this moment, I didn't even say what I was dealing with, but he had already picked up. He knew I was dealing with something, and he was just letting me go through the process of how to navigate it. And when I broke down and I was out of my shell in the situation, literally, he was literally physically right there to pick me up out of it, like literally. And he said, I knew this a few weeks ago. I was just like, I don't want to get into it, but he already know. But I'm saying it to say that's why being seen and being understood, and he'll tell you. But, yeah.
I mean, for me, honestly, I think from us coming from a point of where building a bond as a band, right? You want to build that bond off the stage as well, because people see how you guys are gelling on stage, and they tell us all the time, like, yo, it look like y'all are family on stage, like we just having fun type of thing. But it all starts from, off stage, like you said, like, how you feeling today? Man, I'm cool. On tour, like Carrington, like one of our bestest of friends. Like, I've known Carrington since Berkeley 5 Week at 15 years old. We were MySpace friends. You know what I'm saying? Before
he said Berkeley 5 Week.
Yeah.
In
So
MySpace. And for those of you that don't know, 5 Week is not really an age indicator, but MySpace definitely.
Yeah, not for sure. But it just goes to our brotherhood, right? So we have like this thing where we just know we can be real with each other just because we've been through it all with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know whatever I bring to him, he's gonna understand. We've seen the worst. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I think us having that relationship and navigating life that way, I know that I can just call him and just dump it all on him. He'll accept it all. You know what I'm saying? And help me navigate it. And vice versa. So I think, just being vulnerable, it's one of those things where you when you're navigating life, you're gonna find those people who you can be vulnerable with. Right. I think that's super important to be aware of that. You might meet somebody, a stranger on a plane, and then you find out a month later, like, yo, this person's actually cool. He or she actually gets me. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, 2 months later, you pouring it out and they're accepting it. So you just be aware, like emotional intelligence. We always talk about that, about having high emotional intelligence. Just being aware. And then the accountability part is just like, man, like I see so much in him. It's just like, yo, bro, like tighten that up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Or, yo, try this, bro. Like, or, yo, nah, talk your talk. Your title is this. Like, this is what you do. Like we was talking about in the chat. Like, don't be naive, or like don't play big, small guy on this. You know what I'm saying? Nah, talk your talk. Same thing with me. Like the bro, like I'd be like, bro, like, man, I ain't about to do that, man. Like, nah, like nobody's gonna take me serious. Bro, you tripping? You just got off the Grammys, bro, for the 6th time. I was like, bro, man, I'm at the crib. You know, so my mama called me. I remember it was like the Billboard Awards or something like that. And I'm not gonna name the artist, but the artist got on like after us, and it was like my mom would call it demonic. And my mom FaceTimed me. She was like, "Are you seeing this mess?"
The thing is, I know Keithan's mother, and so I've heard her, and so to picture this scenario, I'm just sitting here like, oh, that ain't it.
Yeah. So she FaceTimed me. I was like, "Mom, I'm in the car on the way to the hotel." She's like, "Oh, you just left?" I was like, "I played and left." So just going back to that we covered. You know what I mean? So that accountability thing is key. I remember we was touring with a certain artist, and we had went to LA for the first time. And man, this is like my first time in LA.
I just need to know what that was.
No, because we got so many of these. So that's
it was our first time in LA. It was BET weekend. It had to be like 2011, 12. And we was doing BET weekend, and I'll never forget, we call ourselves going out the club. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I'll never forget, one of our homies who live out there, like, yo, we're gonna go to this particular club. It's lit, BET weekend, so we're cool. So I'll never forget, like, we go to this club and we're standing across the street about to cross. I swear, we see Suge Knight and like 12 people just mobbing. We was just like, I ain't going in that club. Like,
Wait, going in the club or beefing?
going into the club.
Oh, okay. He was like,
We literally felt like
this is
no. This is a true story though. This is like we can't.
y'all got mad. I'm looking forward to more episodes. Y'all got mad
So when he said about his mom, his mom, like she's spiritually like
yes, you don't
And his
play.
mom is too.
his mom
like,
is too. Like the spirit of
She don't
discernment
play.
on them, like the way we've been blessed and having our moms the way we have them, they have really prepared us for the world.
Mhm.
And I say that in confidence.
Yep.
We're not above like, oh my God, we're spiritually unaware. Now, when we go in rooms, our spirit senses can be very high. And if something's off, our discernment kicks in so heavy. We was on that
I would
block.
hate to see that.
No, we were on the block. Now, let me tell you this how it was. The part he's leaving out, we hop out the cab this way. It's behind us. And you could feel the dark, like it was a heaviness, like it was a real heaviness. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I just turned around. Before I can even halfway turn my head, I immediately look at him and he says the same thing. He said, bro, we out, bro.
Similar to the contract.
Yeah, bro.
Similar
It
to
was
the
just, it was just,
But
it was,
it's the accountability.
yeah,
You know, like we could have been like,
bro, we cool. We in
yo,
LA, it's
man, we
BT.
in LA and we just seen such and such. Like we about to go in there. Nah, I'm cool. I'm out. I'm to the hotel. Like
And we chilled it. I
I'm
didn't even
gone.
think about it.
I'm-
Most people in that
You could have saw your
situation,
face right then, Keith, and you like,
I'm
yeah.
straight. I'm good.
Because most musicians in that situation would have just party, would have had fun, did whatever. But we really hold each other accountable because, like I said, we've seen things just not pan out. Obviously for different reasons, for different people, different circumstances. But that's just one thing we don't play with, man. When our intuition kick in, we are never too proud to be like, "Hey, yo, boy, it's time to go."
Yeah. So I mean, just to touch on the vulnerability and accountability, like you just have to be aware to have those pieces in your life. You know what I'm saying? You want to have somebody who you can hold accountable and they'll hold you accountable as well. You want to have somebody you can be vulnerable with and they can be vulnerable with you as well. It doesn't have to always be a significant other. That's almost like a given,
Yeah.
But having the other pillar, you know what I'm saying, who's just like you, who's a man, who's a like-minded,
Yep.
you know what I mean, who's gonna keep you upright. And I feel like between me and him, and honestly, it's not just me and him, it's me, him, and probably about 7, 8, 9,
Mhm.
10.
Mhm.
We got Marcus in the fold now, so it might be about 11, 12 now.
Marcus is in. Mark. Okay.
That Marcus,
We're gonna get him to come over
Yeah.
and say, they've spoken so much about you, and if you don't mind, there's another sister and friend in the room as well, another Java family member as well. Listen, folks, we're going to take a real quick break so we can get these brothers some water. It's only we can make it a minute. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you. And we're coming back for really. This was a lot of the meat, and so we're going to come back for the dessert. In reference to Covered by Music, I wanted them to really talk about their story because if you're going to entrust your children and you're going to have them be around these young men, then you need to know that they are men of integrity and character and also know some of their stories. And so we're going to come back and get ready to wrap up and talk about Covered by Music. Don't forget, applications are due on July 5th. While we're running the commercials, we'll get the link up in the comments. And so we'll be back with you in just a couple of seconds.
What are you doing for Juneteenth? What you should do is join us for Historically Black Phrases Live. It's a trivia show based off the best-selling book by Jared Hill and Travell Anderson, and they'll be here in Boston on Wednesday, June 19th with The Emancipator and some special guests. Join us on Juneteenth at WBUR City Space for laughs, culture, and an overall good time. We'll have amazing guests such as Gullah scholar Sun Michaud, influencer Claudianne Philippe, and Boston's poet laureate, Portia Olaiwola. Get your tickets now before they're sold out.
We're going to run. Thought I was going to catch it. Real time. We'll be right back with you.
I'm a very sensitive person, and I feel the pain of my people. They know me, they call on me, and I assure them that I'm not a provider, but I am one who cares. I always say to them, well, it's better to know than not to know, because if you know, you can do something about it. Think about the loved ones around you. Think about the ones that love seeing you come through that door. Take the step and get tested. That's it.
Save lives and get screened for colon cancer. For more information, visit boston.gov/cancer.
Hey everybody, we're back. We're getting ready to wrap up. But this is the most important part of the evening for Black Java. I just want to acknowledge this is the first episode of Black Java for those of you that are turning in. If you did not catch these brothers, you need to go back and watch the replay because their story is amazing. And so I think it's even more special to me to be able to ask and present to you all them talking about Covered by Music and the Real Music program that's taking place on July 17th through the 19th. Our elected officials and some others, y'all about to get an invitation. So here's a heads up for that. And the staffers that may be watching and go back and watch, look out for that email coming. But the Real Music program, it's not new. Maybe this iteration is very different. You know, every round goes higher, all that stuff. You learn from, past cohorts and whatnot. And so who's this? I could really just like turn this over to you all and then just, what is the Real Music program and why? See how they just
hey,
power one another?
yeah. No, it's well, what it is the Real program is something obviously is not only something that is our passion, but ultimately what it is us using the power of music to connect to the youth, and us using this Real program is going to be a music concentration workshop experience, 3 days, kids from as young as 13 as old as 18. And it's going to be just a good 3-day workshop of just times that we're going to take these young creators through our journey, but most importantly, giving you the tools, the resources, the fundamentals to hear from Grammy award-winning educators that we know, that we feel as though that not only are friends and our partners, but these are people that we have been able to actually be in business with. And these are people that are highly decorated, that are ridiculously accolades, like it's out this world. So I would be doing this a disservice to go through everyone's resume, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know it. But I say all that to say that it's something that's real passionate, that we are very passionate about. And this is going to be an opportunity for these young creators to be able to step in, ask questions, and it's going to be a very intimate setting. That's why we have a very, very, very space is limited. So if you guys haven't applied, reach out, go to coveredbymusic.org, fill out the applications. The applications are live. And it's just going to be an opportunity for you guys to be able to spend some time with us. So it's going to be really concentrated not only through mentorship. We have some workforce initiatives for those that's aspiring to want to get into the space, not only in music, but have aspirations to want to learn a little bit more about the business. Even if you do not play an instrument, you can definitely come and understand the business and how it works, and how you can just get into other elements to understand how I can be a part. It's not just going to be sitting around just us twiddling our thumbs. It's just going to be a great full day of experience, fellowship, and ultimately just creators just being creatives, doing what we do best. And we just look forward to it. It's something that we've been in the works now for about 2 years in terms of the actual organization. But the Real program, shout out to Chantel, our president, did an amazing job at building out the curriculum. And when she presented it to us, Keithan, obviously being the producer, who he is extraordinaire, was able to kind of reframe it to get it to where it could be simple enough. And then what really put that spice on it is when we had the decorated music educators, the professionals, to make it really what it needed to be. So it's just going to be a fun time for any young creator that's aspiring to be in the music industry or to learn more about it. And it's just going to be an amazing, incredible workshop experience, man. So look forward to seeing each and every one of you guys in the space.
And Keithan, feel free to add to that. And there's, if y'all want to drop, update about one of the educators that's me and add it. I mean, if y'all can and want to.
So what I love about this, this.
Or is it a surprise? I'm sorry.
It would be an early surprise.
All right. Well, y'all don't have to, because I want the.
Yeah, we're gonna drop that for tomorrow. But just know that the surprise is coming. We're gonna drop it tomorrow.
Where y'all gonna drop it at tomorrow? Go ahead, tell the people.
We're gonna drop it on social media and
just stay
no, where you're going to do something similar to what we're doing right now. Do y'all want to make sure folks tune in to where you're going to be tomorrow?
Oh, well, see, we probably won't be live. It probably won't be live.
Oh,
Most likely, it probably won't be live.
All right,
But,
I'll shut
yeah.
up. Keith, the real problem.
No, what I love about it, honestly, is the educators that we've gotten to come join us on this community-driven initiative. Like he said, they're well decorated, but they all share the same passion as we do when it comes to enlightening the next generation on what could be for them in their careers and things like that. So I think getting real-time information from real-time industry professionals and seeing people just like us, in the community, giving back in real time, I think that's a super dope initiative. I feel like if I had that when I was a little bit younger, I'd probably be way further ahead. I don't know how much further ahead I'll be, but I'll be pretty far. But yes, I'm super excited about it. And yeah.
Yeah, and all the educators are there. If you go right on our website, you'll see everybody there. So say shout out to Swag, shout out to Zoe, shout out to Kelly. Like I said, we got a special guest that's gonna be popping in there. We just, like I said, if y'all don't know who it is, just stay tuned. We're gonna probably make the announcement sometime tomorrow, but you gotta follow us on social medias to get that drop. So like I said, we gotta give y'all some anticipation. They say you gotta leave a little anticipation.
The governor,
Call to action. Call to
the
action.
governor dropped something this morning.
Well, listen.
The
Her jurisdiction is a little different than ours. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the governor. You can pull up too, though. We got you. You pull up too. So.
governor will pull up with her hat to the back.
Listen,
And then challenge you. Look, and then challenge you in the shootout.
listen.
We got a
Championship
B-ball
season.
governor. Don't sleep.
Listen, championship season.
Yo,
Yeah.
she used to play back in school. Michelle D. Smith, who you might know from, she's just been around in like Jubilee and years and whatnot, but they used to play ball together.
Oh,
So
wow.
the governor, actually, she has some skills.
Wow.
She got some skills.
And I seen Ruth Z shooting hoops in the garden.
Yo, what? And she made it.
Yeah.
So shout out to our city council president. You're going to be one that we really, and our mayor. July 19th. Just make sure if staffers or anybody on Twitter is watching that y'all hold that date for both Mayor Wu and also City Council President Lucy Lujan. We'll get that invitation over to both of you, but it would behoove everybody that's watching, that's invested in young people, that have young people that may aspire to be in any aspect of the industry. I've said this to them on the phone, and I really believe it. And I'm going to ask Brother Marcus. They've mentioned him a couple of times. If you're open to it, come over and just say something, big up the brothers. They have, no, I'll give them this one.
Okay.
That's cool. Y'all keep yours. They have the ability and are on a path to change the music industry. Oh, he doesn't have to sit. We're getting ready to go. Just come and say hello real quick, very informal. And tell folks who you are. Very humble brother. See, he has some hidden talents and just hobbies and whatnot. But these brothers, along with this brother Marcus here, they're going to change the industry from within. And what I realized the other night, and I said this to them privately, I'm going to say this to all three of you publicly, is that you all doing this with the intentionality of young people at this age as they go into the industry. I venture to say
Oh,
Out
God.
there, but yeah, I'm going into my third year, man. It's been a blessing being here. The city, the history that's in Boston. These guys informed me a lot about it. I love what's going on down here, and we just basically, they ended up coming to me about Covered by Music Foundation, and I seen what they were talking about the real program, and I was like, man, I want to be a part of it. So I'm thankful for them to end up having me there, and also as a founder. People don't know, but music, I've been around music for a very long time. My father, he always had the MPC and the DJ equipment messing around 24/7. Yeah. He had that. So I was the MPC. So I was around it for a very long time, fortunate for that. And then eventually around high school, I started producing. And I was like, man, people got to hear vocals on the song because ain't nobody going to listen to it. So I had to teach myself how to record, and then just ended up going on from there. But I'm happy to be a part of this and being able to affect these kids' lives and understand that even though you're doing something at a high level, doesn't mean that you only have to stick to that one box. Some people always want you to end up, people tell me all the time, be a football player, be this, but I feel like I'm also good at something else. So I love to be multi-talented. I feel as though there's nothing in life to where kids only has one thing to do, just in people in general. You're not only good at one thing. I feel like you're good at multiple things. You just have to try other things out. So, pleasure to be here. Thank you.
We're going to need to bring him on next time because there's a whole bunch that he could tap into as well. I want to apologize. Something happened in tech. We got y'all back, but we're going to get ready to go properly before it knocks us off. But we got the meat out of tonight, and I'm sure that you're confident that joining yourself with these two, joining yourself with these two brothers is definitely going to be beneficial to you with what you want to do, but then also personally as well, just from the type of rapport that they have, you being brought into that. And we're looking forward to great things from you and your colleagues as well. We get y'all on a duck boat come up in February. What is it usually? March?
For what?
The
Super Bowl?
February.
Yeah, February.
We're going to get you on duck boat too, brother. But more than anything, thank you for what you do and coming and giving back to community. And you're definitely in good company, brother. So appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Pleasure meeting you.
And he shows up.
I mean, literally, this brother is
With this key.
here at Southline is much appreciated. And so it
tapped in.
says something about your acumen and dedication to community. So we appreciate it, man. Thank you. We're going to get ready to go, folks. Good friend Amani's in the building, Asia, and also Anissa. Our first episode of Black Java, I believe, went very well. I was honored to have these two brothers here, and we are going to do this right now once a month. We are going to center our culture, our excellence, and our stories. No sugar, no cream. All right, so we'll see you guys. Today's what's today? Tuesday? Today's Wednesday? No, today's Tuesday. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with the Emancipator. We're going to close out with that commercial. They are doing a Black game show on Juneteenth at WBUR tomorrow at City Space. And so after this commercial, you can be on your way. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with the Emancipator and the host of Black Things That Black People Say. Coming tomorrow night at the City Space Center. All right, folks, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
What are you doing for Juneteenth? What you should do is join us for Historically Black Phrases Live. It's a trivia show based off the best-selling book by Jared Hill and Travell Anderson, and they'll be here in Boston on Wednesday, June 19th with the Emancipator and some special guests. Join us on Juneteenth at WBUR City Space for laughs, culture, and an overall good time. We'll have amazing guests such as Gullah scholar Sun Michaud, influencer Claudianne Philippe, and Boston's poet laureate, Portia Olaiwola. Get your tickets now